Hello, let's continue with our discussion for summary judgments, no? So recap muna natin, no? Ano ang ground kapag judgment on the pleadings? Ang ground po natin fails to tender an issue. In short, no issue at all. Okay? So walang issue at all. Pag po summary judgment, ito po ang ground, no? There exists no genuine issue as to any material fact. So what does this mean, no? What does no genuine issue mean? This means the answer presented an issue, but such issue was not genuine. So paano po nagkakaroon ng issue? E di tama yung pagkaka-deny. Okay, ng example. Or na-deny yung lahat ng allegations ng complaint. Na-deny lahat, each item, each paragraph dun sa complaint na deny specifically, no? So, nagkaroon ng absolute denial, whatever, no? Partial denial, denial by disavowal of knowledge. Nagkaroon. It's just that the issue was not genuine. Pero ang judgment on the pleadings po, walang issue at all. So, nagkaroon ng admission of everything stated in the complaint. Okay? So, ba't po nagkakaroon ng ganun? Inadmit, unang-una. Sa judgment on the pleadings, talagang inadmit niya. Pangalawa, paano nangyayari yun? Hindi po tama yung ating pag-deny. No? Hindi po nagkaroon ng absolute denial, partial denial, or denial by disavowal of knowledge. Hindi po nagawa yun. Okay? So, pag hindi tama ang pag-deny natin, deemed admitted ang ating averment ng kalaban, di ba? Allegations ng kalaban. If not denied properly. No? So, with that being said, no? Yun po ang pagkakaiba ng dalawa. Anyway, later on, pag nakita nyo yung mga illustrations, yung mga examples, mas magkakaroon kayo ng clear picture on how to delineate them, how to differentiate, distinguish the two rules, no? So, what does no genuine issue mean? No? No genuine issue means an issue which is a sham, fictitious, contrived, or false claim. No? So, the falseness of the issue or the falsity of the issue, the fictitiousness of the issue, no, can be determined by analyzing the pleadings, affidavits, depositions, and admissions presented by the parties. Kung makikita niyo po yung judgment on the pleadings, no, to recall, di ba sa judgment on the pleadings, ang i-check lang natin, yung mismo mga pleadings lang ng parties. Pero sa summary judgment, hindi lang po limited sa pleadings. Kasali na rin po yung affidavits, depositions, and admissions presented by the parties. Ano example ng admission dito? E di yung sa modes of discovery, di ba? Request for admission o nag-admit. Pag samasamahin natin yung pati deposition, pati affidavit, pati yung pleading, lahat, pag pinag-combine lahat, aba, wala palang genuine issue. But the pleadings themselves initially presented an issue. Ganun. Basta may issue, it's just that when everything is taken into consideration, aba, not genuine pala yung issue ni-raise nung defendant. Ganun na lang tayo, no? Kasi normally naman din. Well, theoretically speaking, ang Rule 35, this is an available remedy for both parties. Pwede nga magpa-file ng motion yung plaintiff, pwede nga magpa-file ng motion yung defendant. Pero doon na lang tayo sa plaintiff ang magpa-file, defendant yung kalaban. Kasi mas madalas nangyayari yun eh. No, kasi about issue din naman yung pinagtatalunan natin. Kasi kung walang genuine issue, aba malamang sa malamang panalo yung plaintiff, di ba? Okay. So, okay. That being said, no, ito pong ground na to, hindi lang naman yung no genuine issue ang important. Important din po yung as to any material fact. Okay, so what does as to any material fact mean? It means the issue must be one of fact, not of law. So buuin po natin yung thought, no? Pag po sinabing there exists no genuine issue as to any material fact, it means there must be no genuine issue as to an issue of fact. Okay? So, ang problem po natin, ang focus po natin sa summary judgment, issue of fact. Dapat walang genuine issue of fact. Kung merong genuine issue of law, hindi po automatic na madedenay na yung motion for summary judgment. Okay? Pwede pong mag-grant pa rin yung motion. Why? Kasi mayroon bang genuine issue as to an issue of law, baka wala namang genuine issue as to an issue of fact, as to issues of fact. With that being said, granted pa rin yung motion. Okay? Now, if the answer raised one affirmative defense, does this already warrant the filing of a motion for summary judgment? No, it does not. Because the single affirmative defense may be a genuine issue as to a material fact or a genuine issue as to an issue of fact. Kasi po, ang affirmative defense, hindi naman all the time issue of law yan. Hindi rin naman all the time issue of fact yan. May mga pagkakataon na ang affirmative defense, issue of fact. May mga pagkakataon, issue of law. Okay? May mga pagkakataon, like halimbawa po, payment. That's an affirmative defense. Pero issue of fact yan. Kasi you need to prove asan yung resibo. May acknowledgement receipt ba? Diba? Ano yung pinirmahan nyo? Pinirmahan nyo ba yung resibo? And so on and so forth. That is an issue of fact. Because the issue is about the evidentiary matters. Diba? The truth of the allegations in the pleadings. Diba? Yun po yung issue as to the truth of the allegations. Ang allegation is may payment. Patutunayan mo yung payment, resibo. That is an issue of fact. No? Hindi po uncontested yung facts yung allegations, no? Sorry. Hindi siya issue of law yung payment. Hindi siya issue of law kasi in issue of law, ang problem lang natin, what law will apply based on the established facts. So sa issue of law po, settled na lahat ng factual circumstance ng kaso. Kesyo nag-agree yung nag-admission, no? Nagkaroon ng stipulation of facts, and so on. Tapos, ang problema yun na lang, how will the law apply? Or what law will apply? How will it apply? What will apply? Yun lang ang problem. Pero ang problem po kapag affirmative defense of payment, what are the facts in the first place? Diba? May bayad bang nangyari? May bayaran bang nangyari? O wala? Full payment ba yan? O hindi? Partial payment lang ba? Okay. So, that's an issue of fact. Pero affirmative defense. Kaya we circle back. If the answer raised one affirmative defense, this does not already warrant the filing of a motion for summary judgment. Because this one affirmative defense may be a genuine issue as to a material fact. It may be a genuine issue as to an issue of fact. What is that issue? Probably issue of payment. Diba? Issue of what? Prescription. Diba? Unenforceability. Mga affirmative defenses yan. Pero issue of fact. No? There's a possibility that one defense is all the defendant needs to win the case. Okay. So, you get the point, no? Thus, a motion for summary judgment is only the proper remedy if the issues raised or the issue raised was a sham or were sham. Okay? So, examples na tayo, no? Anyway, ito inulit ko, no? Ito tinanong ko din to sa judgment on the pleadings. Pero dadagdagan natin ng about motion for summary judgment na, no? So, I mentioned this earlier na sa judgment on the pleadings kasi gusto ko nga matakil hand in hand kasi nagkakaroon ng confusion between the two principles, no? So, inulit ko, if I can recall correctly, nasa taas din to. Yep, ito siya, no? Dito siya sa taas. Okay, let's reiterate, let's repeat sa summary judgment yung example, no? Ms. A filed a complaint for damages against B, alleging that B negligently caused the demolition of her house's concrete fence, no? The top half of which fell on the front portion of Ms. A's car and permanently damaged its engine. In her answer, Ms. B denied any personal liability for the damage caused to Ms. A's car, averring that she merely acquiesced to the advice of her contractor XYZ Construction Company to have the concrete fence demolished. Thus, damages, if any, should be collected from XYZ. No? Thereafter, Ms. A filed a motion for judgment on the pleadings, alleging that Ms. B's statement in her answer is actually a negative pregnant. Ms. B opposed the motion, reiterating her defense in her answer, which purportedly, no, rendered judgment on the pleadings improper. Is Miss A's motion for judgment on the pleadings proper? Explain. Yes nga po ang sagot dyan. Kasi this is not a proper denial of a material allegation by the plaintiff. This is not a proper denial. Diba? Sinabi nga niyan denied. Pero was it even absolutely denied? Was there a proper specific denial? No. Diba? Kasi she did not deny the allegations of the plaintiff. She merely shifted the liability to another person. Di ba? She essentially admitted everything that Miss A alleged against her. Di ba? So there was no denial at all. Di ba? There was no denial as to the allegations of Miss A. If hindi mo dinena yung allegations ni Miss A, admission yun. Di ba? What is not specifically denied, di ba, shall be deemed admitted. Di ba? Judicial admission na yan under the rules on evidence. No? Does not require proof anymore. Hindi na kailangan ng proof. No? So, hindi naman nagkaroon ng, hindi mo naman dininhay, pinasa mo lang sa iba. Judgment on the pleadings yan kasi wala nang issue. Di ba? O now, is motion for summary judgment a proper remedy for Miss A? Sabihin natin, may next question. No? So, itong Miss A's judgment on the pleadings proper, yes. O, why is motion for summary judgment not a proper remedy? Kasi, uulitin natin, ito pong kaso, ito pong factual circumstance na to, walang issue. There was an admission of everything that Miss A alleged. So, hindi ka pwedeng mag-summary judgment because in summary judgment, there must be an issue. But the issue was not genuine. Eh, kung lack of issue talaga yan, lack of any issue, you cannot file a motion for summary judgment. Diba? Okay. Because, ayan, here, a motion for summary judgment is an improper remedy because no issue was raised by the defendant. In a motion for summary judgment, no genuine issue ang need. Okay? Ang need. Next tayong example, no? A alleged in an action for collection of sum of money that B owed him 1 million pesos. A attached to the complaint a notarized promissory note duly signed by A and B. On the other hand, B in his answer, no, admitted that he owed A 1 million pesos. But as an affirmative defense, he alleged that he already paid the amount without attaching any evidence proving payment. What is the proper remedy of Mr. B? Question. So, let's rephrase the question para mas madali. If Mr. B will file a motion for judgment on the pleadings, would this motion be granted or denied? If Mr. B will file a motion for summary judgment, will this motion be granted or denied? Sa judgment on the pleadings muna tayo. Tingnan natin ulit yung facts. Was there an issue tendered? Yun lang naman ang solusyon dyan sa judgment on the pleadings. Tatanungin nyo lang sarili nyo. Based ba dun sa complaint ni Mr. A at dun sa answer ni Mr. B, meron bang issue tendered? Yun lang yun. Wag nyo lang tingnan ko ano yung attachment, exhibit, wala tayong kailangan tingnan dun. No? Meron ba rito? The answer is yes. Meron eh. Ang issue niya, affirmative defense payment. So, judgment on the pleadings is an improper remedy. Kasi there was an issue in the first place. Okay? Now, kailangan, would a motion for summary judgment, no, be granted or denied? Granted po yan. May issue, but the issue is not genuine. Why? It's false, fictitious. It's a sham. It's contrived. Bakit? Kasi sinabi mong nagbayad ka, you did not even attach any evidence proving payment. See? See how it goes? Di ba? May issue based on the pleadings. Pero taking everything into consideration, the affidavits and the evidence, no? Yung Admission, deposition, yung mga yan, taking everything into consideration, it clearly appears, no? It appears, no? Based on everything on the record that itong issue na to is false, fictitious, kasi wala ka namang patunay. How can you say that you already paid? Diba? No evidence proving payment. Kumplituhin natin without attaching any evidence proving payment or uh, uh, including, no, any witness who will testify as to the fact of payment. Yan. Kasi, o nga naman, kahit wala naman documentary evidence, baka may eyewitness, no, na nakakita, nagbayaran sila. So, dagdagan natin, without attaching any evidence proving payment or including any witness, no, who will testify or including any name, yan, of a witness who can testify as to the fact of payment. Ayan. What is the proper remedy of Mr. B? Summary judgment po. No? Kasi nga, fictitious, sham, contrived, false po yung issue because it is a bare and unsubstantiated allegation. See the difference? Tingnan nyo muna yung pleading, ganun, no? Let's make it mode of cancellation. Para malaman nyo kung anong pagkakaiba ng dalawa. Tingnan nyo muna yung mismo mga pleadings. May issue ba o wala? Pag may issue, pleadings lang mismo. O, X na kayo, hindi na pwede judgment on the pleadings. Next, punta tayo sa summary judgment. O, based on everything, on the record, yes, may issue nga, sabihin natin. Pero tama ba, may katotohanan ba issue? No? May sense ba? Or is it false? Fictitious, contrived, or sham? Kapag sham, summary judgment tayo. Eh kung hindi siya sham, hindi siya fictitious, hindi siya contrived, hindi siya false. Oh, deny din yung motion for summary judgment. We proceed with the case. Hindi judgment on the pleadings, hindi rin summary judgment. Ano remedy? Tuloy tayo sa kaso. That's how it goes. No? Yung pala yung pangatlong pintuan. Okay, unang pintuan, judgment. Kung wala doon, pasok ka sa pangalawang pintuan, summary judgment. Kung wala din doon, we proceed with the case. Okay? Also pala, no? Hindi ko na naisulat dito. Hindi ko na na-include dito, no? Sa summary judgment, no? Meron din ito. Ito. Yep, ito. Same na same din. No? Copy-paste lang din natin. Baguhin lang natin ng konti. What's the effect if the motion for summary judgment is granted? What's the effect if the motion for summary judgment is denied? And is motion for summary judgment allowed in petition for declaration of nullity of marriage or petition for annulment of marriage or petition for legal separation? Same principles lang po dito sa baba. So we have to include din yung mga principles nato dito sa baba. Kaya nakalagay na yung mga principles no in-adjust na natin kasi same lang din po no. If na-grant ang motion for summary judgment, the court will later render a summary judgment, di ba? So, yung summary judgment, pwedeng in favor of the plaintiff, pwedeng in favor of the defendant. Just like ang judgment on the pleadings, pwedeng in favor of the plaintiff, pwedeng in favor of the defendant. So, pero syempre, sa judgment on the pleadings, malamang sa malamang kung nag-file yung plaintiff, malamang mananalo yung plaintiff dyan kasi wala kang issue tendered in the first place. Sa summary judgment, actually, ganun din. Kung nag-grant yung motion kasi walang genuine issue raised yung defendant, o de malamang sa malamang, plaintiff din ang mananalo. Pero, in theory tayo, ayusin natin, no? So, the grant of the motion for summary judgment is different from the summary judgment itself. From the summary judgment itself. The grant of the motion is an interlocutory order and the grant of the same will not necessarily mean that the movant will prevail in the action. It just means that the court will later render a summary judgment. Okay? Any action of the court on a motion for summary judgment shall not be subject of an appeal or a petition for certiorari, prohibition, or mandamus. No? So, it states any action. Thus, the plaintiff and the defendant cannot appeal or file a petition. Okay. The action of the court on the motion is an interlocutory order. Thus, it cannot be appealed. Also, as a rule, the remedy to assail interlocutory orders is petition for certiorari as provided under Section 2, Rule 41. However, Section 2, Rule 34 is one of the exceptions. No, so, ito po, bawal po talaga. Bawal ang appeal, bawal ang certiorari. We proceed with the summary judgment later on. No? Okay, so what are the remedies ng natalo? No? What are the remedies of the opposing party? No? The possible remedies are the following. No? Motion for reconsideration, pwede naman. And or proceed with the hearing and raise it later on appeal after judgment on the merits. Yung lack of genuine issue or yung no genuine issue, i-raise mo na lang ulit later on, di ba? The remedies are the same for the plaintiff and the defendant. So what if the motion is denied? If the motion is denied, the case will proceed. Same thing ulit. Any action, kasi nga pwedeng denial, pwedeng grant. Any action of the court, hindi pwedeng i-appeal, hindi pwedeng mag-certiorari, prohibition, or mandamus. Okay? So, same principles lang din po, no? Is a motion for summary judgment a prohibited motion for declaration of nullity of marriage, annulment of marriage, and legal separation? Yes. No? Special proceedings po yan. No? Hindi pwede. No summary judgment shall be allowed. No summary judgment shall be allowed. Okay. To recap everything, let's compare the two principles again. The two rules again. Summary judgment, there is an issue, but walang issue as to any material fact. Ang judgment on the pleadings, there is no issue at all. Kasi nagkaroon ng admission of the material allegations in the complaint or the answer fails to tender an issue. Motion for summary judgment may be filed by either party. Motion for judgment on the pleadings, plaintiff lang po. Okay, next. The order on the motion for summary judgment may be ordered motu proprio. Hindi naman ito pagkakaiba. Ito ay parehas, no? Rule 18. Okay? Lastly, actually, pwede natin i-delete na to, no? The order will be based on the pleadings, affidavits, deposition, and admissions of the parties. No? Meanwhile, ang judgment on the pleadings, the order will be based on the pleadings alone. Okay, that wraps up our discussions for Rule 34 and 35, no? Let's move to Rule 36 on judgment, no? So sa judgment, ito muna, no? Let's differentiate na lang. Ano pinagkaiba ng judgment at saka interlocutory order, no? Actually, may mas magandang distinction na nasa Rule 41. Mas maganda. Ganito lang yan. If the order completely disposes of the case, so dismissal or wag na palang ganun. Basta if it completely disposes of the case, that is a final order or a final judgment. If it does not completely dispose of the case, it is an interlocutory order. Okay? So, an order is final if the order or judgment ends the litigation. Ganun lang kasimple. Completely disposes of the case. Actually, kaya ako sinabi mas maganda yung sa Rule 41 kasi caudal provision yun. Ito kaso eh. No? Mas solid pag sa caudal provision. Okay. It is interlocutory if the order simply resolves matters incidental to the main case and still leaves something to be done by the court. So actually, wag nyo na nga itong alalahanin itong pangalawi. Kung kasi inyo, interchange na lang. Either sabihin nyo, it is a judgment if it ends the litigation. It is an interlocutory order if it does not end the litigation. Pwede nyo nang sabihin nyo. Pangalawa, pwede nyo sabihin, under Rule 41, if it completely disposes of the case, judgment yan. If it does not, interlocutory order yan. Ganun kasimple. Okay, don't forget the doctrine of immutability of judgments din, no? So, pag final and executory na po ang judgment, it can no longer be disturbed, no? It can no longer be disturbed, subject to exceptions, no? So, we will enumerate the exceptions. Okay, no, sa exceptions, ang maganda lang tandaan dito, ang dapat lang tandaan dito yung clerical errors, yung non-proton entries, at saka yung in case of void judgments. Okay, sa void judgments muna tayo. Ayan, no? Kasi pag void ang judgment, di ba, pwede kang mag-relief from judgment, pwede kang mag-annulment of judgment. So, kaya kailangan nyo tandaan yan. For clerical errors, ito naman yung mga typographical errors and arithmetic miscalculations lang. No? So, pwede nagkaroon ng pagkakamali sa computing ng ano, no? Compute ng loss of earning capacity sa damages, no? So, pwedeng magkaroon ng ano ng modification yung judgment even after it became final and executory kung merong clerical error. Now, paano naman ang nunc pro tunc entry? What's the difference between clerical error and nunc pro tunc entry? Ang clerical error, typo, no? So wala pong hindi na ilagay. So walang nasa body na hindi na ilagay, walang nasa body na hindi na ilagay sa dispositive portion. Nailagay po lahat ng mga nasa body dun sa dispositive portion. Ang problem lang natin, nagkaroon ng typo or nagkaroon ng arithmetic miscalculation. Kasi ang i-enforce po, ang i-execute yung dispositive portion, hindi naman po yung body. So pag po nagkaroon ng order of execution, pag nagkaroon ng rate of execution, ang titingnan po ni sheriff yung value, yung dispositive portion. No? So sa clerical error po, nagkaroon ng typo or arithmetic miscalculation sa dispositive portion. Okay? Normally. No? Ano naman po ang nunc-pro-tunc entry? Ang nunc-pro-tunc entry po, merong mga nakasaad sa body na hindi na ilagay sa dispositive portion. Sabihin natin, do sa body nakalagay, inawarda ng moral damages in the amount of 500,000 pesos yung plaintiff. Okay. Later on, dun sa value, dun sa dispositive portion, hindi po naisulat yung moral damages na yon, no? Award moral damages in the amount of 500 pesos in favor of the plaintiff Juan de la Cruz, hindi po naisulat. Yet it clearly appears from the body that he should have been awarded. Kasi nakasaad yun. Now, your remedy is itong nung protong entry. So magpapamotion ka for well, you will file a motion to modify, diba, the judgment, no? Okay. Di pala motion to modify the judgment. Motion for correction. Yan. Of the judgment, no? Motion to correct the judgment. Okay? So, yan. Clerical error versus erroneous conclusion. Ang erroneous conclusion po, wala pong pagkakamali sa typo, walang pagkakamali sa walang arithmetic miscalculation. Ang nagkaroon po, erroneous conclusion, an erroneous conclusion of fact and law, probably sa application ng lower court, doon, o the highest court of the land, pwede rin. Nagkaroon ng wrong application, sabihin natin. Yun po ang pagkakaiba. Ang clerical, na mali, yung typo lang. No? Clerical in nature or miscalculation. Ang clerical error po, pwede pa nating i-modify even after the judgment become final and executory. Ang erroneous conclusion po, hindi tama yung upload na na-i-apply, hindi tama yung facts na na-consider, and so, hindi tama yung rules na na-i-apply, yan po, hindi na pwedeng i-modify kasi covered na siya ng immutability of judgment. Okay? Kasi kung yan, pwede pa rin i-bring up, pwede pang sabihin na hindi, no? Nagkamali po ang honorable court sa pag-apply ng facts, pag-apply ng law. Hindi na matatapos yung kaso. Di ba? Kasi substantial na naman yung pinag-uusapan natin. On the other hand, ng clerical error, pwede talagang magkaroon ng correction even after it became final and executory kasi we're not touching on the substance naman na. Formal na lang yung mga ipapa-correct natin. Based on form lang. Wala nang binago sa mga theory, wala nang binago sa mga position. Itinama lang yung computation, yung nakasulat. Okay. So, rendition of judgment, pronouncement, ito yung nasa public. Yung pronouncement, ito yung ginagawa ng during the hearing. No? It's the process by which the judgment is officially announced and made known to the public. Rendition is the filing of the signed decision with the clerk of court. Okay? So, when should the appeal period be reckoned from? From the time of the receipt of the decision. Yun yung pangatlo. Okay? So, may pronouncement, may rendition, may receipt of the decision. Now, for the purposes of the bar, ano kailangan nyo matandaan dyan? Itong when should the appeal period be reconfirmed? Tatlo yan, ha? Iba yung pinronounce, yung sinabi sa court na panalo si plaintiff, talo si defendant. Iba rin yung rendition, final, final yung signed decision doon sa clerk of court. Iba rin yung kailan tatakbo yung appeal period ng aggrieved party o ng losing party. Okay? Okay. So, ano naman yung entry of judgment? No? The entry of judgment refers to the physical act performed by the clerk of court in entering the dispositive portion of the judgment in the book of entries of judgment after the same has become final and executory. So what if the clerk of court delays in entering the judgment in the book of entries of judgment? Will the appeal period be extended? No. Hindi po, no? Ang appeal period po, 15 days from receipt of the notice of judgment. Yun po talaga yan. Wala nang pagbabago dyan. Kahit na ma-delay yung pag-entry ng judgment, 15 days pa rin po from receipt of notice of judgment yan. Hindi po ma-extend. Okay? Sige. So, apat palang principles to: pronouncement, rendition, entry of judgment, at saka when should the appeal period be reconfirmed. No? Sige. Let's move to the next topic. No? Motion for new trial or reconsideration. Yung motion for reconsideration, simple lang yan. Yung mga grounds, no? Damages are excessive, evidence is insufficient to justify decision is contrary to law. Basically, lahat ng pwedeng maging pagkakamali do sa decision, do sa judgment, pwede mo i-contest sa MR. By the way, yung MR po pala na to, this an MR directed against a final judgment or order. Kaya po, kung makikita niyo yung grounds, damages na, evidence is insufficient, decision is contrary to law. So, after na po nagkaroon ng judgment. Iba po ito sa motion for reconsideration directed against an interlocutory order. Yun po, that's that is a motion for reconsideration under Rule 65, no? So there are two types of motion for reconsideration. The first one is itong nasa Rule 37, against a final judgment or final order. Isa naman under Rule 65. Yung isa final judgment, yung isa interlocutory order. Bakit po covered ang motion, bakit po may motion for reconsideration under Rule 65? Wala naman pong nakasulat na MR dyan, di ba? Wala naman eh. Ang nakasulat sa Rule 65, certiorari, prohibition, mandamus. Yan pong motion for reconsideration, covered po yun ng salitang no appeal or other plain, speedy, adequate remedy. Doon po siya papasok. Sa plain, speedy, adequate remedy. Yun po yung MR under Rule 65. And this contemplates what? Interlocutory orders. Kasi pag MR ng final judgment, Rule 37 tayo. Okay? Okay, sige. So, grounds, no? Damages are excessive, evidence is sufficient to justify decision is contrary to law. Okay. So, before we go to motion for new trial, I would like to tackle na natin yung ano, is a second motion for reconsideration prohibited or is it allowed? Doon muna tayo, bago tayo mag-motion for new trial. No? Alam naman na natin, no, ang filing ng MR saka motion for new trial within the period of taking an appeal o the 15 days from notice of receipt of the notice of judgment, di ba? Okay. So punta tayo doon sa second motion for reconsideration. As a general rule, a second motion for reconsideration is prohibited. Okay? As exception, the prohibition of second motion for reconsideration contemplates the same party assailing the same judgment. Thus, a party is not precluded from filing a motion for reconsideration against an amended order of the court, totally reversing or setting aside its previous ruling. In short, second motion for reconsideration is allowed if the decision was reserved on motion. Why? Because as to the other party, this is his first time filing a motion for reconsideration. So, itong pagkaka-word na to, no, medyo mahirap siyang i-digest. No? Medyo mahirap siyang i-simplify. Ang senaryo lang po nito, nagkaroon ng judgment, talo si defendant. Si defendant, nag-MR. Nung nag-MR si defendant, nanalo naman na si defendant noon. So si plaintiff ngayon, ano remedy? Pwede siya mag-MR din ng kanya. That is a second motion for reconsideration, di ba? Kasi nagkaroon ng MR noong una. May MR na naman ngayon. Pwede po yun. Pwede po yun. Kasi that is the first MR with respect to the plaintiff. First niya yun eh. So, nagkaroon ng first yung defendant, nagkaroon ng first yung plaintiff. That is allowed. Hindi pwede yung same party, dalawang MR. Yun ang bawal. Pero different parties, tig-isang MR, that is allowed. Okay? Now, with respect to second motion for no trial, no? Pwede pong magkaroon nun, no? Kasi kung makikita, which leads, kasi pwede po tayong magkaroon ng ganun, may second motion for no trial, kasi ang motion for no trial, marami pong grounds yan. Let's go to motion for no trial. Okay, sa motion for no trial, etong dalawa na to ang important. Extrinsic fraud at saka newly discovered evidence, no? So extrinsic fraud, kailan natin siya nakita or kailan natin siya unang nakita? Sa motion to set aside order of default, no? So ito ulit-ulitin ko to, no? Throughout our discussion. Apat yung related na yan. Motion to set aside order of default, no trial, petition for relief from judgment, at saka annulment of judgment. Lahat ng apat na yan may extrinsic fraud. Common feature nila yun. Common ground. Ang pinagkaiba po niyan yung reckoning period. Reckoning period. Period to file the pleading or the motion. Okay. When do you file a motion to set aside order of default? Before judgment. When do you file a motion for no trial? After judgment during the appeal period. What about petition for relief from judgment? You file this within 60 days after the petitioner learns of the judgment and, tandaan nyo, twofold, no? And within 6 months from entry of judgment. So this contemplates, this is a remedy after the judgment became final and executory. And lastly, annulment of judgment. When do you file this? Based on extrinsic fraud. Within 4 years from the date of discovery. So ito po ang pinakamalayo, no? Pinakamalawak pa, malawak ang coverage, no? Annulment of judgment. Relief, motion for no trial, at saka motion to set aside order of default. So nasa motion for no trial tayo ngayon, no? Extrinsic fraud, essentially, what does this mean, no? Extrinsic fraud is fraud that prevents the other party from fully presenting his side, from having an opportunity to present his evidence. Okay. Another word for extrinsic fraud is collateral fraud, no? Opposite po nito yung intrinsic fraud. Intrinsic fraud, ang examples niyan, yung causal fraud at saka incidental fraud under the civil code. We will tackle these tong causal fraud at saka incidental fraud later, no? So let's go muna to newly discovered evidence. So what are the requisites for the ground of newly discovered evidence to be appreciated, no? There must be a newly discovered evidence. He could not have discovered and produced it at the time of the trial with reasonable diligence, and if presented would probably alter the result. So kung magtatanong po kayo dito, no, watch out for this one. Itong 2, 3, 4, no? Actually, we can do it like this, eh. Ayan. 3 requisites lang, no? Watch out kayo dito. Pwede kayo pwedeng tanungan. How can you be asked here? Kung may negligence, sabihin natin, you could have produced this evidence during trial kung diligent ka lang in procuring your witnesses, in procuring your exhibits. So, if you were negligent in doing so, at hindi mo na i-present, hindi po covered ng newly discovered evidence yan. Because you could have, but you did not produce the same during trial. You could have discovered and produced it at the trial with reasonable diligence, but you failed to do so. So, hindi pwedeng mag-motion for no trial ka ngayon. Okay. Next is ito, if presented, would probably alter the result. Paano ang itsura nito? Sabihin natin, mayroon bang newly discovered evidence, but it will not change the effect of, will not change the judgment. No? Example is corroborative evidence lang naman. Sabihin natin, ano ba, iba kasi ang corroborative evidence at saka, pag sinabi mo kasing corroborative evidence, it's just an evidence that supports your main evidence. So if supporting evidence lang yan and your main evidence fell, di ba? Kasi nanali ka bilang party, this corroborative evidence even though you newly discovered this, di ba? Hindi na siya pwedeng makover ng newly discovered evidence kasi nga it will not alter the result. Di ba? It will not alter the result kasi more of the same. Or it's just something that supports the main evidence that did not even win you the case. So, it will not alter the result kaya hindi na po magkakaroon ng new trial. Hindi po magagrant yung motion. Okay, so examples tayo, no? Mr. A filed an action for collection of sum of money against Mr. B. The court authorized Mr. A to serve the summons to Mr. B. Later, A made a return of summons stating that he was able to personally serve the summons to B. However, the truth was he never served the same to him. So, nagsinungaling siya. Diba? Sinabi niya na serve pero di naman pala niya sinerve. As a result, Mr. B failed to file an answer and later he was declared in default. The judgment was rendered against B. The copy of the decision was received by B on May 22, 2023. During the appeal period, what is the remedy of Mr. B? During the appeal period, so hindi pa final and executory ang judgment. What's the remedy? He must file a motion for new trial on the ground of extrinsic fraud. Hindi ka pwedeng mag-motion to set aside order of default kasi tapos na yung kaso, may judgment na. No? Hindi naman pala tapos na yung kaso with the trial court, before the trial court, tapos na. So, hindi ka pwedeng mag-motion to set aside order of default. Hindi ka rin pwedeng mag-relief, hindi ka rin pwedeng mag-annulment kasi wala pa namang final and executory judgment. Okay. So, next tayo. Mr. A lent 10 million pesos to B. After 1 year, B paid the amount in full, which was evidenced by an acknowledgement receipt. He misplaced the receipt. Later, Mr. A sent a demand letter to B, but B did not pay. A filed an action for collection of sum of money against B. A prevailed because B was not able to produce the receipt. Kasi walang resibo, walang patunay, di ang sumatotal niyan, hindi pa nagbabayad. So, magbayad ka. Okay. During the appeal period, Mr. B discovered the acknowledgement receipt. So, he filed a motion for new trial based on newly discovered evidence. Should the court grant the motion for new trial? Tama nga naman ay. Wala niya before, nahanap niya na ngayon, dapat bagong kaso na ulit. Bagong hearing na ulit pala. Hindi pala bagong kaso. Bagong hearing na ulit. No? Balik tayo sa start. Napatutunayan ko yung aking mga ebidensya. Ipipresent ko yung aking mga ebidensya para mapatunayan ko yung allegations ko. So, papayagan ba yung motion na yan? Okay. No. The motion will be denied because of the phrase with the reasonable diligence. If you just exercise proper diligence in taking care of your documents, you could have produced, di ba? And you could have discovered and produced the acknowledgement receipt during trial. But you didn't because you did not exercise reasonable diligence. You were negligent in protecting, in taking care, in keeping your receipts, di ba? So, that will be your downfall, di ba? So, kaya napaka-important po nung second at saka third requisite, no? Again, yung third requisite, ang normal example niyan, more of the same evidence lang. More of the same evidence. So, kahit man newly discovered yung more of the same evidence na yun, no? Wala din. Okay? I think that wraps it up for, anyway, grant of the motion, no? So, pag motion for reconsideration, the court may amend the judgment. Kapag motion for new trial, mababakit po yung original judgment and there will be a trial de novo. So, a new trial, essentially. But the recorded evidence shall be used in the new trial without retaking the same. Ibig sabihin, part na po na record yung recorded evidence. No? Hindi na po siya i-delete, hindi na siya i-strike from the record. Part na siya. Okay? Ayan, no? Fresh period rule, it applies, no? So, if the motion for reconsideration or the motion for new trial is denied, the 15-day appeal period will be reckoned from the receipt of the denial of the motion. receipt of the notice of denial of the motion. No? Uulit po ulit siya 15 days. Hindi po siya remaining balance na lang. No? Hindi. No? Remaining period, no? Back to 15 ulit. No? Anyway, we will learn po, no, actually, we will tackle the fresh period rule later sa appeals. No? Matatakil natin yung Rule 40, 41, 42, 43, 45, Rule 64, no, sa COA, saka sa COMELEC, at saka sa petition for certiorari, no, tatakil natin lahat yan. Fresh period rule later on. Okay, so we're done with motion for new trial and reconsideration, no? So, next nating itatakel, doon na tayo sa petition for relief, annulment, and so on. Okay, doon na tayo sa mga next topics na yun. See you guys sa next video.